In my experience, people often know that they need to let go. They just don't know the when and the how. And that's just as important. So in this video, I want to talk about why letting go is so hard and what to do about it. And really, there's questions that I think everyone needs to ask themselves before proceeding with letting go or changing the shape of a relationship. So the first question is, what am I really holding on to? Whether it's a person or a thing, what's most important is we look at what does it mean to us? What identity have we shaped around it? Or memory does it bring up? Most people are holding on to a meaning and a sense of security, because otherwise you would allow people and things to just be free if you really trusted that your security was there. So the next question is, why is it so hard to let go? Even if you have clarity and you can see all of the reasons why something may not work, you're still attached, you're still holding on. Why is it so hard? So in my experience, the harder it is, typically the slower you need to go. I've always experienced letting go, especially with things that are really important or provide a deep sense of security, as happening in stages. And I've also experienced the dynamic that the more I try to force letting go, the more resistance there actually is to letting go. So the hidden gem here is that letting go is never something that should be forced. It should be something that comes from clarity and readiness. And readiness and clarity don't always come at the same time. Sometimes there can be a huge gap between those two. Don't ever put your standard of timing against somebody else's. Everyone operates differently, and some people that seem to let go of things easily may have it catch up with them later in life when something seemingly insignificant happens and it opens up a well of loss for them. Really, it's important not to judge your process and timing with anyone else. And I've learned that myself the hard way. And I've found that I actually have needed way more time than I imagined. There's something about having room and space that builds strength and clarity and readiness. And I think later in life, you just have stronger muscles to be able to deal with things quicker. So all this is not to say that sometimes you can't just spontaneously let things go. Absolutely you can. But typically, if it's meaningful and meeting a lot of your needs, it's gonna take some time. One of the practices that helps me let go of things or relationships is gratitude. It's really important when you're losing something to realize all the other things that you already have. Not only is that grounding, but it's also sane. No matter who or what you lose or let go of, it doesn't encompass your whole world. It cannot. Objectively. There are so many relationships and things that make up our worlds. One thing that's always helped me is to create a timeline, a deadline that I'm going to get rid of something. For me, that is a middle way path where I'm not getting rid of it right away, but there's a deadline and a date and I'm moving towards it. And I can start to actually prepare myself for that letting go. One question I often ask myself as it relates to things is, do I need this or do I love it? And if the answer is no to either one, then it's time to move on. When it comes to relationships, obviously there's more complexity. One of the most important ways that I always approach it is looking at the ratio of nourishment and goodness versus challenge, drama, draining. You always want to have a healthy ratio there. 70-30, 80-20. Often when you look at a relationship that is past its expiration date, the ratio is not good. It's too costly, it's too expensive, spiritually, emotionally, physically. So it's important to ask yourself, how often does this relationship feel supportive, enlivening, and just good? And how often does this relationship feel draining, dramatic, or hard? Even if it's more hard than good, you don't have to let go immediately. This is where the complexity of relationships come in. In my experience, I think it's important, especially if it's a really close relationship, to begin letting go in stages and meeting your needs in other ways. Whether that's coming back to yourself more for like hobbies that you may have let go of, changing the way that you work, finding more fulfillment from other sources, creating more boundaries, And at the end of the day, you can always practice more honesty, because ultimately honesty is what sets us free. No matter whether it's a relationship or an object, what's true will guide us. Letting go has tremendous benefits as well as being very difficult. It really invites each of us to look at our social landscape or our physical environment and take stock and get current. Most people often don't make meaningful changes other than a health crisis. It's usually when we experience loss, whether it's a breakup, a death, or some form of letting go like a job. One key resource or tool is titration, being able to oscillate between what's difficult and gratitude and all of the powerful resources and support that you have in your life already. So not getting stuck in just one or the other. If you hang out too much in the grief, that can be overwhelming and actually damaging. And if you hang out too much in just positivity, that's a bypass. And it's only a matter of time before the grief catches up with you or comes out sideways in some form. But learning to work with both and come in and out of each of them is a dance that is not a science, it's more of an art, but it's, in my experience, crucial to be able to move through grief in a healthy way. Also, the degree that you can bring in others and community, friends, family, is super important, because grieving actually is not meant to be done alone. Grieving is actually a social behavior, historically. And so finding ways to receive support or be witnessed, even if you're letting go, even if it's something like a journal that you've kept for years, if you want to have a friend come over or on Zoom, FaceTime, and watch you recycle it or shred it or burn it. Just having a witness is really important. So the last piece I want to share here and remind you of is to trust clarity over pressure, and really to honor the pace of which your change happens. With some things, you never quite feel ready. You may just feel close enough and very clear. And in those situations, life often gives you an assist in somehow with letting the thing go. But in most cases, you can make that decision yourself. And when you are in a position to make that decision, I just invite you to make the process sacred, meaningful in some way. It doesn't have to be elaborate, it can be very simple, but just some meaningful ritual to let go of something that was and may continue to be for a while meaningful in your life. And if you feel encouraged to do so, please share something that you are in the process of letting go of. And where are you in that process? Thanks so much for watching, and until next time.